Hello there. It's time for Most Things Kenobi. I prefer all things Kenobi, but I suppose that's not the Jedi way.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Most Things Kenobi, a podcast about Obi-Wan Kenobi and all things Star Wars. I'm your host, Leanne.
And I'm your host, Lauren. And this week we're going to discuss the season finale of Season 2 of The Mandalorian. Particularly, we're going to discuss the one and only Luke Skywalker.
Yeah! So exciting.
Oh my god, I can't wait to talk about it.
I mean,
I have lots of notes here.
Yes, let's just say right off the bat, we were going to have an all Luke episode anyway, but the season finale of The Mandalorian Season 2 prompted this to happen a little earlier than expected.
Yeah, it expedited the process.
Yes, so we are more than happy to talk
and it
about
won't be
Luke
the
Skywalker.
last episode.
Oh, hell
about
no.
Luke, but just the first episode about Luke.
Yes, yeah, there will be more. We can't cover it all about this one amazing man, this one amazing character in 30 minutes or less. Hell no.
Not possible. I mean, he's got 3 movies. Well, I guess more than that now if you count the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Which is a questionable counting, but...
Well, yeah. It's not all praise here when it comes to how Luke is portrayed, at least on this podcast. But
we're not here to shit talk. We're just here to enjoy. So,
as one wise man once said, from a certain point of view, right?
Exactly. Yes, exactly. So, really quickly here, we want to thank once again James Arnold Taylor for recording our intro. We are in your debt, sir. It is an amazing intro, and we are so lucky to have your dulcet tones on our podcast every week.
Yes.
So thank you.
Well said, Space Twin. And hi, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Not bad.
Just running around trying to finish Christmas stuff because we are recording this, 3 days before Christmas?
Yes, and yeah, because The Mandalorian Season 2 finale blew us away no less than 2 or 3 days ago.
Yeah, Christmas came early, people.
Yes, it did. Oh.
It's the best gift, honestly. It's a gift I've been waiting for my entire life.
It's the gift I didn't know I needed in that show. I mean, holy hell.
Yeah, I think it's safe. We're not, spoilers at this point. By the time this is going to come out, I guess we should be pretty safe in spoiler territory, right? So,
yeah.
I mean, we've already blown it by now. If you've listened to the intro, you know what what the big thing is in the season finale.
Our sincerest apologies.
Sorry. We'll put it in the description.
So, as I mentioned at the end of our last episode, Luke Skywalker is the heart and soul of Star Wars.
Could not agree with that more.
I mean, equally paralleled by his twin sister. Miss Leia. So, but today we're focusing on Luke and all the reasons why we love him and why 30 minutes isn't enough.
And why, literally, 3-4 minutes of one episode was enough to, recharge the whole fandom and bring about a crazy amount of respect for Luke. I'm seeing stuff, I was always a Luke Skywalker fan. He was always my favorite character as a kid. Mm-hmm. So I would troll through Tumblr and through Instagram looking for just Luke content, and it was really hard to find. And now it is everywhere.
It's great. And they took a chance. They took a real chance with what they did, and it was magnificent. Applause all around.
It was so good.
To the whole team.
It was so good. It was so validating.
It was... Oh... I'm still not overthinking about it.
Me either.
And it's you and I have talked. It's comparable to my emotions in Rogue One when the Vader hallway scene happened. I mean, How long was that? And the impact it had. It was the ruthless, crazy, just doesn't give a shit. I'm going to slaughter and cut someone in half on the rooftop. And it had such an impact. And then here's a very similar setup. Luke walks in, completely owns every part of the scene, that ship, those dark droids or whatever they were, just owns it.
Yeah.
And the impact it's had, it's amazing. It's the Luke we deserve to see.
Oh my gosh. It's the everybody I've talked to, I've had a couple of friends who knew I always loved Luke Skywalker text me saying, have you seen The Mandalorian yet? And some family members too. And I was like, are you kidding? Yes, I've seen it. It's amazing. And they all have responded. It's the Luke I've always wanted to see. It's the version the full-blown Jedi Master Luke that we never really got to see. I mean, he's still going through it. Technically, Return of the Jedi is kind of Luke's trial. You know, the trials that the Jedi go through. Him having to face Vader is his final challenge before becoming a Jedi. And that's not even a Jedi Master, just like a Jedi Knight, so to speak.
And what a hell of a challenge,
Oh my God, talk about...
I mean, shit.
deep, soul-crushing shit that you've got to sift through. That is horrible. Hey, kill your own dad.
Yeah, right. Oh, please. My heart hurts thinking about it on so many levels.
I know, I was going to say, because Anakin is inside that Vader suit.
There's a soft child who is manipulated inside that helmet. I know it. And Luke saw it. Hey?
That's right. That's what makes Luke so special. Is attachment was not a downfall for him. It was his strength.
And it drove him. He never, in the entire history of what we know about Luke, what's like one thing you can say about him in every single scene and he is there for his friends and what soon become his family. And I mean, he's there for his father in the end as well. And he doesn't even hesitate. And what do we see in the season finale? Season 2 of Mandalorian? He doesn't even hesitate. He goes in, he doesn't announce himself. He doesn't need to. I mean, in my opinion. And just takes care of business.
He's so selfless. And he never identifies himself in The Mandalorian. Because like you said, he doesn't need to.
That's not what it's about.
And not because he's so famous that he doesn't need to, just because he doesn't need recognition. He just does what he does because that is who he is. And to answer a call, somebody in need. And
yes.
I mean, obviously, he was contacted by Grogu.
Yes,
I love.
Baby Yoda.
Yeah, Baby Yoda. Well, it was always Baby Yoda to me.
Yes.
In the episode previous, he's on the, what was it called? The Seeing Stone or the...
Yeah, the temple.
The stone at the center of the temple.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great scene. I loved that.
It was very cool.
And I knew, I had, bless him, Mark Hamill kind of spoiled The Mandalorian for me because I hadn't seen it yet. And then he posted the picture of him, with his finger to his lips, shh, don't give the spoilers away. And I was like, well, that means he's in it.
That's a spoiler, Mark.
I was like, okay.
Oh, I love him.
And I wasn't mad. It made me want to, hurry up and watch more of it. But, yeah. So I knew when Baby Yoda was sitting on the rock that he's contacting Luke, and that made me even more excited. But you didn't know. So when you watched it, what was it like to have the little reveals one at a time before that you see Luke Skywalker in full?
I would be happy to tell you. It went like this. I'm sitting on my couch alone. I'm watching it. They're about to get their asses kicked by these dark droids or whatever their name is. I don't remember.
Because I'm thinking of other stuff.
Yeah, not the point of this. And an X-Wing rolls up. And I said, oh, no. No. First hint. Second hint is the Green Saber. And I said, hold. I jumped up off the couch when I saw the green. And I held my hands in front of my face. And I said, they're not doing this. How are they going to do this? Are they going to do this? Are they doing this? And and there's all this build-up. And the music was fantastic.
Oh, so good.
And there was this obvious build-up. Because everybody knows who put that episode together what the hell was coming, and we didn't. And they purposely, with the hood. And honestly, when you see the Jedi, whoever it is, walking down that hallway in the camera feed, the hood's up. You don't know. It's not until the green showed up and I said, holy shit. Oh my God. Holy shit. And then when the elevator comes up and there's this like elongated pause of waiting to see like,
it's so effective. Oh my God.
It's
It
so
builds
good.
tension. And with the music, like a heartbeat beating.
Yes. And the droids like turn and face. The droids stop what they're doing to turn and face who's about to just completely kick their ass. And can we talk about his technique?
Oh my God, please. Yes, please.
The saber deflections behind the back, the pulling of what was it? The helmet or the skull or whatever, the head of that droid and knocking it into the other one.
I can't pick which is my favorite part. There's like the part where he uses the force push, and then the spin where he spins around and then throws the head across the room at the other droid and hits it in the face. Or the force crush, which I have written here in all capital letters with like 4 exclamation points. Talk about the force crush.
Yeah, and I've seen some YouTube. I don't know who made them. I'm not pointing out anyone. I didn't watch the videos, but I saw the thumbnails say the forbidden move that Luke used in the season finale, and I'm thinking, well, Obi-Wan Kenobi did that in the Kadavo arc, right?
Yep.
With the droids. It's okay to do if it's droids, right?
I mean, it's not okay on people, but
no.
For living beings. But yeah, on a droid, it's a little less controversial. But it's so, I mean, do we see anyone else do it besides Obi-Wan and Luke?
I mean, off the top of my head, no.
I know that Vader
did
is
it
always
to everybody.
Force choking people, but
he was an equal opportunist force choker.
Yes.
He didn't discriminate.
He did not. He would choke family, friends.
Yeah, that's all.
Co-workers. One of my favorite scenes in A New Hope, Star Wars, original Star Wars, is when they're at the conference table and Vader starts to choke. I can't remember the character's name now, but Tarkin is like, stop this bickering, it's pointless. It's like, he's literally killing someone at the conference table. It's not bickering.
I think it's great.
It's
Am
one
I
of the
wrong
best
to
scenes.
think that?
No, because Vader is so extra.
I love it.
It's a true Skywalker. You gotta have that flair and flash.
Okay, so back to it, right?
Yeah.
Here's Luke Skywalker coming down the hallway, just completely kicking ass in that quiet, composed, powerful manner that we know Luke that's his style.
Yeah.
And oh man, the whole thing was very reminiscent of his father.
It was so fun to see that they really did a nice blend of Anakin and Obi-Wan in his style. There's so many parallels with Vader and Anakin in particular, but I noticed some stuff where he takes the hood off and the force crush and when he says, "Come, little one," that's all Obi-Wan.
That's very much true.
It's so great to see that he is really, he is like the vergence of light and dark, right? Which is, it's like he's a half Anakin, half Obi-Wan. He's got all the best of both of them.
Yes, and he took a blend of all of the people that taught him something. And not just in the manner of, master and apprentice, but the people in his life who he cared about that taught him something. He is aware enough to take that with him and never lose sight of that, which is, oh man, that's as wise as a Jedi can get, right?
Right, and it's, I think, why so many people love him as a character, because he's really relatable. And although I have heard Sam Witwer was saying that he thinks some people are uncomfortable with Luke because Mark Hamill played him so sincerely. And we always look for the cool character. That's why people love Han, because he's cool and he's funny and he's smooth.
Well, yeah, but
like kids like me who felt like there was something more to life and I was just stuck, in my little suburban home, which is a great home. It was a happy home, but I was
absolutely.
You dream for. I always was very adventurous. I dream for adventure, just like Luke. And that scene of him looking at the twin suns it almost always makes me emotional because that's exactly how I felt at that exact age. He was the character's probably 18.
Yeah, it's a beautiful scene. It's iconic at this point, obviously.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the Skywalkers begin and end on Tatooine under a pair of suns.
Yeah.
And I just...
Well, and that ties into how when I was watching it, there was a moment where I was like, our farm boy is a full-blown Jedi Master.
He's all grown up now.
Yeah, I'm so proud.
Our little boy is so grown now. It's awesome. It's really cool to see the Jedi Master.
It really
Luke Skywalker.
It's so validating because it was really hard, honestly, to watch some of the stuff that happened in the sequel trilogies with Luke. Because he is the embodiment of positivity. You know, even in the worst moments, he had a bit of a temper, but it was because he wanted to do more to help.
Yes.
And he felt like he couldn't, and he wasn't prepared.
He was conflicted. Mm-hmm. He was conflicted, you know, he has to do one thing, but he can't do it because he has to do another, and both are pulling him in different directions, and all he wants to do is help.
Right. And Luke is all about hope.
Yes.
And so to have the way he's represented in the sequel trilogies as being bitter and
jaded,
yeah, that just didn't ring true to me, and it was really hard to see that happen to like my childhood hero.
Yeah.
And to like think that all the things we've watched and even the comic books that I've read and the novelizations, everything is leading up to the character having this really sad, tragic end.
Yeah.
Or at least, yeah, it didn't feel, it was just kind of really disappointing. And so to see this version of Luke is just, it's what I needed.
Yes, I completely agree. 100%.
And one of my friends said that it's kind of fan service, but it was really well done. And
what's wrong with fan service, though?
Well, I don't have a problem with it when it's done right.
Right?
Not to tell them what is and isn't right. They can decide that for themselves. But to me, like,
right,
this was the fan service that this is the fan service I was looking for.
Yes. Oh, how about that? Yes. Well, I think there's an interesting thing when you look at characters that you grow up with or characters that you grow to love. Everyone has a different interpretation of why they may love that person. Mm-hmm. And maybe later fans have a different interpretation of, you know, who Luke Skywalker is to them. We have ours. Ours lines up more with what we saw as the Jedi Master Luke Skywalker in that finale. And you and I both agree on that point. But there are many others that don't see him in that. You know, one critique that's very common is Luke is too whiny.
Yeah.
And reminder, he's a Skywalker. Okay. Number 2, how would you be if that was your life and all of a sudden here's this old man you don't know handing you a passed down lightsaber saying, you've got all this shit you got to carry on your shoulders suddenly. I mean,
by yourself.
Yeah. All he wanted to do is go to the Tosh station. Okay. And now all of a sudden he has to save a galaxy twice.
Right.
And
end up sad and alone, but also like to grow up knowing you were orphaned with relatives that, let's face it, Uncle Owen was a little cranky.
A little bit.
That's why I particularly love the original Star Wars radio drama, because they spend more time with Luke on Tatooine as a teenager and like get a little deeper into his relationship with his uncle. And it is, what's the word? It's a bit contentious, but Luke even says to one of his friends that I can't just turn my back on them. They're the only family I've got. And
again,
if that
Luke
means
being Luke.
that I have to sacrifice what I want to take care of people who have taken care of me their whole lives, you know, it just, I recommend listening to the radio drama. It has Mark Hamill as the main actor, and then all the other characters are kind of replaced, or did I say characters? All the other actors are replaced. Yeah, it's worth listening to. It's It's really fun because Mark Hamill's a great voice actor.
Of course he is. I mean,
it's really
look
great.
at all of his other work.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
You know what I noticed too in the Mandalorian, when they first show Luke's lightsaber up close, they show the hilt. So anyone who knows him knows that that's, which I do because I own it.
You own it, yes.
Shout out to Saberforge for the most incredible lightsaber replicas.
What a cool shop too. We'll talk about them
and
all other small business manufacturers of Star Wars stuff in later episodes. But yeah,
highly recommend.
Definitely.
I also noticed something really super cool. The last time I rewatched, because I've rewatched the ending like 50 times now.
Oh, yeah.
So I went to a demonstration a couple of years ago called The Anatomy of an Injury. It was about samurai swords and how the samurai would use knowledge of anatomy to overcome their enemy. And they have a technique of swiping at the inside of your thigh first to cut your femoral artery and then coming down over the head. And Luke does that.
Yeah.
It was so cool to see like real like samurai technique. Not that I am an expert in any way at all, but according to this demonstration that I saw, it was really cool. It's very, very accurate fighting style. Granted, he's fighting droids, but still like.
Well, when you're just a natural at it, you're just going to go through muscle memory, right?
Yeah,
of
exactly.
Being amazing, and then that's what happens. That's cool, though.
Yeah, it was really cool. I don't know. Little details like that are what make something,
very
worth watching, I would say.
I don't know if you guys can hear this in the audience, but my cat also agrees. He's meowing, so I'm not sure if that'll make the final cut, but he too loves a good Skywalker boy.
He's such a good boy.
He's a good boy.
A lot of people on Tumblr are talking about the parallels of Mando taking off his helmet for Baby Yoda, the way Vader took his helmet off for Luke.
I never thought of that.
Yeah, it's pretty. And Luke standing there watching it.
Oh, what? No, I never thought of this. Stop, I'm having an epiphany.
Right? It's a good moment when you think of it that way. That's why Favreau and Filoni are like, they get it, man, because they do the parallels. It's so important with good storytelling, which was George Lucas's original idea of paralleling the characters so that the same stuff happens to different characters, and how they respond to it is what makes it interesting.
Yes, and it does. That's what draws me to it.
Mm-hmm, same.
But I never thought of that.
Yeah, it's deep, right? It's really good.
Excuse me while I freak out here by myself. Well, you know what that means. I gotta watch it again.
Yep.
I gotta watch it one more time.
Oh my god, it was so good. As soon as I was done watching it the other day, I went and just watched Return of the Jedi because I needed to see more Luke.
So, what is your favorite Luke Skywalker? Is there a moment or one of the movies or a comic? Because I know you and I have both read several comics that feature Luke.
Yeah. That's a
so
good
is there a
question.
favorite? Is there something is there a moment, a movie, a scene that you prefer over all the others that you always are drawn back to?
Yes. I would say Empire Strikes Back. Luke, particularly the duel with Vader and his conflict with Yoda, like deciding to leave. That whole movie, the lighting on Luke is amazing.
So good.
He's always split right down the middle. So half of his face is in light and the other half is in shadow, which just shows his constant conflict. And at this point in the story, he could have gone either direction because he was feeling frustrated. And that means you could either like fall towards the dark side with anger and frustration, and of course, because he's Luke, becomes compassionate and lets his emotions guide him in a way that the Jedi wouldn't have approved of. But also, I think the whole point of the way George Lucas set up the Jedi in the prequel trilogy was to show that it wasn't working.
Yes.
Their lack of connection with humanity and their stoicism was blinding them a bit.
A bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we see a lot of that presented to us in the Clone Wars series because it delves into it a lot deeper, and you get to see how each individual Jedi, you know, all the way from Ahsoka to some of the lesser featured Jedi that, you know, are they grace an episode or two, but we don't see, but they're all confronted with it. And it was very plainly not working.
Yeah. Well, and then the other part of me, like my child part, like loves Luke at Jabba's palace.
Oh, what a master, right?
I watched that. Like, I still rewind that over and over.
It's so good, though.
I love it. What about you?
I am a sucker. I'm a sucker for Red 5 standing by.
Oh,
I mean, so pure. But
so, Red 5 from, like, the original...
Oh, yes. Yes. It was just, it's such an unassuming line.
Yeah.
That just exceeds the simplicity of it in what ends up happening. And obviously, because you know this, but his hug with Han.
Oh my God, yes.
At the end of A New Hope.
Yes.
You know, when they come back from the battle and Leia rushes in and they hug, and then Han comes in and I believe he says, like, I knew you'd come back or something like that. And
yes.
It's just such a pure moment. And I've always loved that. I've always, the genuine happiness on all three of the actors' faces, you know? It's like a real moment that was captured. And Luke just is so happy, and he doesn't even realize, you know, his impact. He's still worried and concerned about hugging his friends. I mean, it's oh God, it's the humanity that he has that it's heartbreaking and endearing, and I love that part too. That is a scene. I have an animated GIF of that moment, and I literally can watch it and just sit there watching it over and over. It makes me so happy. Their smiles are so infectious. It's beautiful. And if I were to choose a second one, I love I love anything that has to do with Hoth. Okay, I love Hoth Leia. Her she's a general in those scenes. Yeah. But I love the flying that Luke does. It's reminiscent of, like, he's got flying skills. He's got Skywalker blood, you know? And the moment he has, like, remember to use the Force in the cave. When, I know the Wampa scene's very sensitive to you, but, you know. It scarred me as a child. Seriously. But I love how Han goes after him. And I guess I don't have, like, a singular Luke moment. It's always him and his friends. Yeah. I think Luke shines when he's with his buddies. So. Dude, you have got to listen to, here I go again, listen to the Empire Strikes Back radio drama. Yes. Because there is a scene in that's not in the movies between Luke and Han in the shelter, where Luke is kind of unconscious and he starts to come to, and he and Han have this exchange where they, like, bicker a little bit, but you can also tell that, like, Han's actually really worried about him, and he's like, what happened to your face? Why are you covered in blood? Right, explain. It's such a good scene. It's really great, and it's really fun to just hear the acting and not see any of the interaction. It adds a whole level to it. I highly recommend, if you're fangirling over Luke and Han moments, that would be a good one. I guess I also love the moment where he tells Leia that they're brother and sister. Oh, I love that scene. I love that scene. They are the perfect. I love them in that scene. Yeah. That and I also love my favorite line probably in all of Star Wars is, "I'm a Jedi like my father before me." And he throws the lightsaber away and just stands there. It's just like, I'm literally getting goosebumps. You know Anakin in there saying, "The fuck did he just say?" Yeah. And also, he just cut off my arm. Yeah. Hey, wait a second. I can only process so much here. Yeah, this is a very complicated moment in my life. But, I mean, that's some good shit.
Yeah.
God, I love Star Wars.
It's so good. It's so good. It puts the characters through so much, but that's what's fun to watch. Well, and also because Star Wars usually it has something kind of happy at the end. Not everybody has something terrible, but
No.
except Rogue One.
Oh.
That is, I seriously cry every time I watch that.
But it ends on the note of hope.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's, yeah. Yeah, Rogue One is soul crushing.
But, like, the moment with Jin and Cassian on the beach.
Horrible.
Like, at least they have each other.
But beautiful.
What a moment. Yeah, it's so... I'm excited about that show, actually. I really liked Cassian. I thought he was a cool character.
Yeah, we have to do a Rogue One episode where we talk about all the things.
We have to have an episode
All
just
the
for the Vader scene at the end.
I'm sorry. What did you say? A whole Vader episode?
Yeah, oh, yes.
Don't toy with my
Vader
emotions.
episode.
Well, he is my favorite character, Anakin / Vader, because he's so complicated. I don't love the superficial, scary guy in a black everything who talks like James Earl Jones. But
God, I love James Earl
oh
Jones.
my God. But I love the complication of his start to finish. I love characters that have that much going on.
Yeah. Well, and the Rogue One, Vader is the first time I'm ever really afraid. Like, palms sweating while I watch the scene. The rest of the time, maybe it's because I've seen it so many times. I guess I was kind of scared of Vader when I was a little kid in the A New Hope in Star Wars.
I mean, there's a
movie.
presence about him that you can't deny is frightening as hell.
Yeah, but then I feel less afraid of him, and I remember feeling really afraid of the Emperor when I was a kid because he was unpredictable.
And he's shrouded. He's shrouded in the hood, and he's
You're
shrouded
just
in mystery.
never sure.
And he's an ugly bastard.
He's like Henry VIII. He's always playing people off each other. You know, it's like he kind of acts like your friend until he has you betrayed and murdered by someone you're close to. So, yeah.
We're going to need a whole episode for old Palps.
Oh my God, yeah, we do, because he's a...
Just won't go away, that guy.
He won't. Dear God. Talk about a recurring
old Palps.
enemy. Literally rules every part of the Star Wars original trilogy, prequel trilogy, sequel trilogy.
All of Clone Wars. He's in so many comics. Like,
It's so true.
so many novelizations. He's either there causing a shitstorm or he's being spoken about for causing a shitstorm. So
He is also the most effective politician I've ever seen.
really, though,
Because, like, how many different conflicts did he organize and, like, have it turn out exactly how he wanted?
I don't
like,
know.
that's just not realistic.
but you know what stopped? Luke stopped all that shit when he stepped up to the plate, right?
That's right.
He met his match.
Our hero.
Yes.
Our farm boy hero.
Yeah.
So last week, we asked our listeners, what was your not a kid show moment from the Clone Wars? And we got some really good responses. We want to thank everybody who replied. We see you. We appreciate you. I'm going to read Kendall Nelson 03's response because this one really, really spoke to me. My top, this is not a kid show moment would have to be from The Lawless. Everything about Satine's death scene is so dark and brutal. I mean, Maul murdered someone that Obi-Wan clearly had strong feelings for right in front of him, making him feel helpless. And also, just the idea of using Satine as a pawn to get revenge on Obi-Wan is horrible and really heartbreaking. And also, the animators did an incredible job on the scene, especially with Obi-Wan's reactions, which makes the scene even more heartbreaking, and I totally agree with that.
Yeah, they did that wonderfully, as sad and terrible as it is.
It is, and that's a really good moment to pick, too. It is really soul-crushing, honestly. And
Seriously, I
cannot
cry?
watch it. Yes, I
Yep.
cannot watch it without crying. Even if I I'm like, no, I'm just going to watch an episode really quick, like while I have dinner. I always end up crying if I watch that episode.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so well done. And what a great moment, right?
Yeah. Well, there were too many good ones to, like, just read one. So let's read another one.
Yeah, Sad Desert Boy on Instagram says, oh my. One moment I remember was when Ventress skewered that one clone and gave him a peck on the cheek. Pure brutality. I was shocked.
Same.
Ventress,
oh my
right?
Gosh. I had totally forgotten about that moment until this comment came through, and I was just like, oh my God, that was... It's fucked up.
It really is. And it's shocking, but it's like kind of like an icing on the cake of just like how kind of nuts these guys are. Like these just how nuts these Darksiders are, you know?
Yeah, man. Smooth and silky and brutal as hell.
So thank you, Sad Desert Boy. That was an excellent comment. Definitely a moment where you're kind of like, what the hell? Kid show?
Definitely not a kid show moment right there. So we'd like to invite you guys to the conversation. We have a question for you now. What is your favorite Luke Skywalker moment? You can message us either on our Instagram page, our Tumblr page, or you could even email us directly at mostthingskenobi@gmail.com. We would love to hear what your favorite Luke Skywalker moment is, and we might even share it on our next episode. Join us next week for an episode where we talk about one of our favorite Star Wars products, Saberforge. They are an amazing company that makes really realistic lightsaber hilts and other Star Wars items. And actually, I think they do other fandoms too. I feel like I've seen maybe some Indiana Jones stuff from them as well. So we'll talk about them and give you some contact info, discuss their amazing products. So join us back here next week for that.
So thank you so much for joining us here today on Most Things Kenobi, the podcast. Remember to follow us on Tumblr and Instagram, and don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast player. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and more. So until next time, my space twin, may the Force be with you.
Always.